Welcome to Tusks and Tails, where the stories run deep, the dogs run harder, and the hunts got more heart than hype. From the swamps to the hill country, we're bringing you the voices of real dog men and women who live for the chase, the bond and the bark that breaks the silence. This show is powered by the best in the game, hardcorehogdogs.com, cut vests, collars, and gear built by dog men for dog men. Use code Tusks and Tails for a discount that'll outlast your boots. Hog Tunnel headlamps. When the lights go out, these bad boys turn the woods back on, bright, tough, and made for the thicket. 2B Hog Dogs. 2 brothers, 1 passion, breeding heart, drive, and handle into every dog that hits the woods. Reach out to Kenneth and Tequil Smith and let them know that you heard him on this podcast. Boars and Broads, where the hog dog lifestyle meets the back road attitude. Use code TNT at checkout and wear it proud. TheBestDogProducts.com, keeping your pack healthy and ready. From flea pills to wormers and everything in between, they've got what your dogs need at prices that make sense. Use code T and T for a discount at checkout. That would be the and sign. Dirty South Calls, built for the woods, tuned by a dog man. Contact Hunter Ledger or message their page and use code T and Tails for a deal that'll make your next hunt sing. So leash up your pack, grab your light, and ride with us. This is Tusks and Tails, where every hunt tells a story and every story's got tusks.
It's a big ass one. Holy shit. That's a fucking good one.
Hello, y'all. Welcome back to Tusks and Tails. Today we got a guest from another country. This gentleman here, he seems to be a Rusty Mayshore fan. Shout out to Rusty. He reached out to me, said he listened to the Rusty podcast, and I've had quite a few other people. They're a fan of Rusty Mayshore. I mean, he's got a good yellow dog bloodline. I don't really got to go any further into that. I'm sure y'all already know. But with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and let this guest introduce himself and kind of tell us where he's from.
How you going, Alan, mate? Obviously another Australian guest. So, I'm in central Queensland, Australia. So, about 3 hours from the coast, inland, and probably blue ribbon cattle country is what you'd call it. And probably some of the best hog pig country in Australia. We get the big fellas in this CQ area. It's all grain and a lot of cropping. It's just the probably the elite area for the pigs in Australia. But if anyone doesn't really know who I am, I'm Baden Crittle, Blackmouth Curs Australia, in partnerships with my cousin Troy. You might have heard us on Dixie Doggers. We did a trip over there early in the year, March, went to Uncle Earl's. It was always a to-do bucket item list, and we ticked it off this year, and it was just a real eye-opener for us, and I've come back, been working dogs hard, got some plans of coming back, and it's another ticket off the list, come back in 2027 and compete with some dogs. And definitely a shout out to Rusty, because I've got some plans in motion with him, and he'll receive one of my dogs hopefully early this coming year, February, and that bitch will hopefully go through a bit of a program next year and line up for 2027 and be the first international competitor over there with a bit of luck.
Okay. Now, you mentioned you went to Earl's. What was your experience like there, real quick? What made you want to get into the Baypen world? Do you mind covering that real quick?
It's not that originally you didn't want to get in. We didn't know what baypenning is. Obviously, everyone can watch it. Yeah. You can watch it on bloody YouTube. You can see it wherever you want on Facebook, Instagram nowadays. We brought the dogs over back in 2010, and we did watch a lot of videos of dogs working in pens in that process of looking for dogs to import. We sort of come to the conclusion pretty quick that, they're not they're not going to suit what we want for hunting and that sort of style of dog. So obviously we went with the sort of rancher, the cattle working dogs, and then blackmouth curs from down Texas. But the Baypen thing's always been a bit interesting. I say, a lot of the fellas that we met over there are uniquely American. That's sort of my way of not upsetting anyone and saying a redneck. But yeah, it was one of the most redneck things we've ever seen and experienced. And it's not for everyone, but it is for everyone that's interested in working dogs and working dogs on hogs or pigs. Okay. There's two sides to it, and for me, it's a challenge to compete with a dog that with a dog that is a baying dog that's not traditional in Australia, but to take one back and be able to compete is a challenge. And I like a challenge. I've been working cutting horses all my life. Been training dogs all my life, and this is probably just a bit of an evolutionary step to say, well, you can work and do whatever you want out in the paddock, but to compete with the best of them, you have to get in that pen and have a go.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Most definitely. So, you did mention in there that you were at Uncle Earl's, of course. What mainly struck your, I guess I gotta ask first, are y'all allowed to have any type of bay pens in Australia, or is there any such thing as that there?
No, definitely not. So, got to be careful. Got to be a little bit careful of what I say here. But definitely can't have a pig in a pen, and can't. Yeah, there's definitely no sport in Australia that would represent bay penning as you guys have it over there. Basically we've got to work our dogs out in the paddock, out in the bush. Baying dogs, they'll do that job out there for us. How that translates to working in a pen. Obviously there's the sportsman class and that sort of stuff, and the Rusty runs that woods sort of baying that he has, and you can sort of bring them dogs from out of the paddock and put them in there. But Earls is just we experienced Earls, and it's just in a class of its own. It's really, I suppose, set up to take the elite dogs there. And as much as everyone gets on the moonshine and has a bit of fun in that, it's still a great competition, and it showcases what can be done with dogs if you put them in that situation and train them hard enough, I suppose.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah, Earl's is most definitely an experience, especially. I'm curious, what crowd did you hang out with while you was there? I'm sure you talked to everybody, but did you get a chance to meet Logan Campbell or trying to think of more of a rowdy crowd? Did you meet Boars and Broads at all?
Yeah, met them two fellas. Only briefly. First day we went in there and sort of Rusty took us around and introduced us to a lot of people, but he'd done his sort of day's judging and then he was going to go. I think we come in early in the week and, wasn't it towards the end there, and we sort of set up there and, just sort of got in with Dixie Dogs with Joey and Nate, and got a lot of bloody introductions and that through them, and Rodney Bell, and sort of hung around them fellas. Obviously talked to Randy Durrell and met Goose, and had a few good conversations with Randy, and I still talk to Randy to this day. He's been real helpful. He's been mentoring me a little bit on sort of the process to get these dogs working the way I want them and get them back there so that they will be competitive, because obviously there's no point spending probably $18,000 to fly 3 dogs to the States and not be competitive.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
One night there, I don't know, we met everyone. We were handing out bottles of OP rum and doing the thing, and I woke up a bit worse for wear the next morning. Took me about fucking 2 days to get over the 150 proof moonshine from Slick Willie, I think. So.
Oh, that don't surprise me none. It seems like you got the right experience. That's all I gotta say. Now, I do gotta ask you, so you do talk with Randy and whatnot. We know Goose is the GOAT. We know he's the greatest of all time. Now, with that being said, what struck you to get a yellow blackmouth? I mean, did you know much about the bay pen yet when you chose to go with the blackmouth? Or if you could do it different, how would you do it?
So we imported them back in 2010, and that was a choice to bring over a new hunting style of dog for Australia. Obviously, you sort of got the picture of we sort of run, that bull Arab, the cross dogs, bull terrier crosses. They're all drop dogs basically, or running catch dogs. Nothing traditionally hunted out too far. I would have said a lot of dogs weren't great nose. So we made that choice to bring that style of dog over. Obviously, it is a capable dog of going back into a Baypen situation and baying. And for me, I could probably do it with one of my border collies that I work my cattle on, and that I could do it with a Kelpie. There's a lot of them dogs are out in the paddock, out in the bush, baying pigs, finding pigs, baying them. But I don't think they've got the mouth and they've got that intensity that a blackmouth cur has. I've got a little Catahoula here at the moment. When I got back from the States, I had tried some Catahoulas in the early days. I don't think they're very consistent in Australia. I think that's just purely from the bloodlines that have come over in the early days. They're probably a bit more for looks and colour than actually working ability.
Yes,
nowadays, I think they've come a long way, and I've got one. She's not as strong, as solid as what a blackmouth cur is. I would have said baying a pig. A lot looser and probably a little bit still inconsistent, I would say. So the blackmouth cur to me fits the mould for basically what we want to hunt here. The way I hunt a lot on ground. I walk hunt. I let my dogs go out. They might go a kilometre or two. Pretty easy to find a pig. I'm not dry casting or anything like what Rusty did. That was a bit of an eye-opener to sort of just drive up the road, get out, throw your dogs out and expect them to go 2 or 3 miles just to look for a track or a scent and then go for a pig. That's pretty unique for us. We wouldn't do that. We basically go to where there's a bit of sign. Might be 4 or 5, could be up to 4 or 5 hour old sign, and you'll drop your blackmouth curs and they'll hunt straight away, and they'll just poke off and go as far as they need to find the pig. And obviously we could get up into the ranges and they could sit up there for half an hour baying a pig until you get there.
Okay.
So they've got everything that we need, I think, and to put that into something that's competitive at Earls. There was a lot of good yellow dogs there. I couldn't tell if they're foundation blackmouth curs or they're just yellow dogs, but I mean they were in the pen, they were doing the job as good as any of them. Obviously they're competing against some of them real old competitive dogs like Goose and that, but there's still a lot of the yellow dogs were very competitive from what I saw.
Yeah. So let me ask you, you said foundation yellow. I mean, who did you get yours from exactly?
The original dogs, 3 bitches, come from David Toms, from down sort of East Texas there, and then from Randy Wright we got 1 male. So
okay.
three bitches and a male come in one shipment, and 1 female was put in pup just before she left. So we got 1 bitch in utero, and she had 3 pups.
Okay.
And our bloodline has basically been that David Toms with the Randy Wright male, which was all foundation blackmouth cur. Everything else got registered, still being registered, and we sort of identified two females that were a stronger line, and one of the males that was a pup out of the first litter that was in Australia that was from Tom's Trigger. He was just a phenomenal old dog, and I've talked about him a fair bit, we stuck with that heavier, sort of stronger line that, most of my bitches will catch, most of the dogs I produce will catch most pigs. It's actually a lot of fellas at the moment are sort of saying, I've probably bred them a bit too hard, a bit too tough, and I've got to take a bit of catch out of them. So I've done that with bringing in some semen in from Florida, and Gage Holland at the moment has a male pup for us that he got from Florida. He's going to work in Texas there for a couple of years, and then I'll import some more semen. But that's sort of the program has been that we've really got these foundation blackmouth curs that we did our research on, and we've bred them line. Obviously without being able to get genetics in all the time, we've heavily line bred to what exactly we need in Australia to hunt to a good distance, a kilometre or 2, catch if needed, or bay, bay bigger peg, 120 kilo bull, they'll generally sit back and bay.
Okay.
Yeah,
that...
very, very versatile breed from what we've, for the years that we've had them, they're very versatile.
Okay, and do you use them on any cattle or anything down there at all, or just pure hogs or boars?
No, for years I used them catching a lot of rough cattle, so bull catching, so going out on a quad bike, 2 or 3 big male dogs and clean skin bulls, rough cattle, sort of up in the timber or out in sort of scrub country, and if them bulls leave the herd, I would send 2 or 3 dogs and they would just run them down, and a couple of bigger males would catch them and hold them, just catch them by the ears and hold them, and if not, they'd just bay them until I get there in a quad bike, and then you just roll them with the quad bike, park the quad bike on them, tie them up, mark them on a GPS, because I'll have the dogs who will be running trackers even for that job. Just if they get too far out, I don't have to stress where they've gone. I can just follow them on the tracker and slowly follow them until they get that bull barreled up. And then, come in, tie him up, mark him on the GPS and go again, put him on the back and go again. And, a good run, I could catch 5, 6 clean skin bulls in a good run.
Okay. Yeah. So, let me ask you this. So, when I was talking with Frog Dogs Australia, you mentioned in there they get out quite a distance, whatever, and you got some rougher dogs is what we would refer to them as if they're catching. Let me ask you this. What is the vet status around where you're at? Like your closest veterinarian, or is that even a possible thing where you're located?
Where I'm at the moment, it's about an hour to a vet, which is pretty handy.
Okay.
When we were out west or when we were up in the Northern Territory, so that Happy dog, which was sort of one of the main dogs I used to bull catch with, and that he fell off the back of the ute, and I dragged him for a bit and did a bit of damage to his back legs. But it was a 6-hour trip into the vet. Kept him alive, wrapped him up in some coats and stuff like that, and then took him into the vet. But it's not too bad nowadays. You can get like a vet's not too far away, but obviously you do a lot of it yourself. So even here, if a dog gets cut up, like you do a lot of the stitching, stapling yourself, and get them right, and then you might take them to the vet the next day. So.
Yeah. Okay, yeah.
But obviously with having the black-mouth curs and the concept is they should be baying or bailing clean skin cattle or pigs. The amount of herd dogs I've got nowadays is minor compared to when we were running catch dogs and that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Every hunt you'd be stitching or stapling dogs. Now, I might do that once, one or twice in 6 months.
Okay. Yeah, that's. I had a good boar hog on Saturday mess up. I have foundation yellow black mouse. I got a jip, and then actually there are 2 jips. Well, one's not a jip anymore because she just had a litter of pups. But she got wrecked. She got 8 stitches in her. It was probably the second biggest hog that I've laid my eyes on. I mean, I've caught a 375.6 to be exact. And I think this one was pushing 320. My wife says, 260, 270, but it was a good hog. So, I mean, I know when you talk about the roughness, trust me, I know what you're talking about.
So where did you get them found? Like, if you're saying they're foundation black-mouth curs, like what's their bloodline? Where are they from?
So Weatherford Bends. So same.
Yep.
Yeah. So that, I mean, her paper's got some other dogs in it that nobody's even gonna know because they're actually my buddy's dogs that he's just registered, and I ended up getting the puppies. I got one as a puppy, So if I start naming the 3 before or after Weatherford Bends, they're gonna be like, nobody's gonna know who they are, and which is fine. It's not a big deal. They keep all their dogs really tight to theirself, and like I was lucky to get one. So yeah, she's good. She's really good. And then my other one is I got a Ladner cur as well, which I don't know if you're familiar with them at all.
You obviously see a lot of Ladner just through the social channels and that sort of stuff, and I thought they were sort of more. We didn't really look at them because I don't think they were really promoted as sort of hog dogs or pig dogs compared to the Weatherford Bends, cattle working and catching sort of dogs. So we sort of shied away from them once.
Yeah, no, I understand. Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about because when I was newer to it when I looked at this Ladner, and I just, I seen a yellow blackmouth, and I was like, oh man, I want one. And he works out all right, but I see where they come from a lot of tree and stock, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, you're right about that. I mean, on the right side, I don't want to sit here and act like I know every detail into that line, but I know on the Right Cattle Company, of course, which is right. If it's my understanding, they're a lot rougher than pretty much any other ones. Is that correct? Were they?
I think so. Yeah. Look, we could only go on what ones we brought.
Yeah.
The male come from Randy Wright, and he caught straight up. Like he was a pretty rough sort of dog. He loved the nuts. You go bull catching with him, and he'd be swinging off the bull's balls, and he was quite a back end dog, which is not real handy if you're going to try and meat works bulls and the dog's been swinging off his nuts. So yeah, but he was pretty good on the balls too. Like he'd get in and sit them down. I don't know if that was natural or just but the instinct. Like if there's any genetics there that they were sort of back end dogs or not. But definitely with David Tom's dogs, they were sort of working as a partnership. I think a bit between David Tom's and Randy Wright. There was a lot of breeding between them, but I'll just go off what Rusty said when we met Rusty, and he said, "Oh, what blackmouth curs you got?" And we sort of showed him, and I showed him some papers and that, and he said, "Yeah, you just basically got yellow bulldogs," and that's why he went away from some of that foundation stuff. But for us, it's worked. It's
because
it's really worked. That they've been tough, and we've proven that they can catch pigs in Australia from the get go, which has been 100%. If we brought dogs over and they didn't perform, well, then it was a waste of money, and the breed would have died out.
Yeah. No, I don't know. From my understanding, I had a buddy tell me that's very, very intelligent in the dog world. He's quiet. He don't have social media or nothing, but he informed me that Weatherford Bends was actually a coal.
Yeah, probably. I think I might have heard that.
Yeah.
Yep.
It just blows my mind how that name is so big now, even though, he was a coal. But that's pretty awesome though, I like to talk about that with other people and get some more information from their side because, some people can make some stuff up about where this came from, where that came from, and I document all my stuff just in case in the future, if they're like, where did this come from? I can tell them exactly where it came from. We're not sitting there confused.
We've done the same. So, I mean, obviously the dogs are papered when they come in from the registry over there. To date, everything I've got's still registered. By ear tattoo, every pup that's come out, every litter that I've had, every pup's been ear tattooed and been registered. I've got a book of every breeding since the first pups hit the ground in Australia. And I can sell pups, I can look up records. People ring me, I think I've got a blackmouth cur. Probably come from you, and I will have a look. Has it got a tattoo in its ear? No, it doesn't. Well, it didn't come from me, and I think that's just paramount for for us. And my breeding is to be able to prove your lineage, your lineage a bit, and say, well, from the day we've bred them, this is the litters, this is how I've chosen to breed, this is the result, and that's why they perform to the best of their ability because we've been breeding them the best. So,
yeah. So
if you forget about that, and you sort of get 10 years down the track and go, oh, I don't know what I did or why I did it. Sort of been a bit pointless, hasn't it?
Yeah. So the tattoo thing, why do y'all choose that over freeze branding?
I'm not sure I don't think there's any rules we wouldn't be able to freeze brand in Australia, but basically, so I do a year letter, then I do a pup number, and obviously that would be a bit of an effort to. Okay. So I do the bitches. I do a bitch's name. So if I breed Mischief, the pup will be M. If it's a second litter, it'll be MB, and if it's as I go through, it'll be MB01 will be the first pup.
Okay.
So if anyone ever rings me, they'll go, "Oh, I've got this dog with MB01 in it." Well, instantly I know it's out of mischief. Second litter, first pup.
Okay, that's awesome. That is. I'm sure somebody out there already knew that, but see, I didn't. So I just learned something. That's a great idea, because there gets a lot of confusion out here, and this is a topic I want to cover while we're right here. I've had a couple good dogs, that I've let go, and as a matter of fact, one of them was freeze branded. He was freeze branded with my brand. He was a really good dog, and I gave him to a buddy of mine. It kind of hurt my feelings because I don't know where that guy ever went. And then I had someone reach out to me, and they said, "Hey, man, I got this dog. I watched him in the woods. He was catching hogs, blah, 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 blah. What do you know about him?" And I'm like, "Dude, I mean, what you got is good, I'll buy him back from you right now. I didn't know he was getting rid of him." And, but, if further down the road and somebody says, "Hey, I'm not going to get rid of any more of my dogs." There was a circumstance with him. I was trying to get another buddy to get started, and I wouldn't say I got screwed over, but I really didn't make it clear that, hey, this dog comes back to me. So the ear idea, I think that's a great idea, but I mean, have you ever ran into that, and how did you deal with it if somebody, is trying to say, well, this dog, for example, well, this dog ain't doing worth a damn now, and it's got your brand on it. I don't want them to take the misinterpret it, thinking that, that dog ain't been on my yard in 6 months to, 8 months, or however long. Who knows what happened to him?
Well, the biggest issue we had was actually people. We brought the first curs in, and then we would get pictures and messages of people saying, "Oh, well, you weren't the first one to bring black mouth curs in." Probably the same as you've brought them dogs in
Slovakia,
as well. As soon as you do it, everyone else has got them.
Yep, and they argue with me all the time. It is so annoying.
Yeah, so the tattoo thing obviously started with pups, but then as it went on, you sell your first litter and someone's going to crossbreed straight away. Yep. We never cut or sold any dogs desexed, and you can't once they're sold and left your breeding, you don't have a choice what people do with them. But obviously we can manage the issues of people ringing up and saying, "Well, I think I've got a black mouth cur." "Oh, who did you get it from?" "Well, I got it from such and such. They got one and they've got one." And well, if it's not tattooed, it doesn't come from me. And then how do you prove? Look, my line is how long can you say it's your line for? So I've been breeding the same dogs for 15 years that basically come from David Tom's. And I've always said they're still David Tom's dogs because we haven't had a choice to outbreed or make any difference to the breeding. Because obviously just in the logistics of getting more semen or getting dogs from over there. So my line is my line. It leaves with a tattoo in its ear. People want to ring up and say, "Well, I've got a black mouth cur. Why doesn't it work?" Well, if it doesn't have a tattoo in its ear, I can't prove it was ever going to work because it's come from another breeder. So to some degree, that's your choice not to come to me and ask for information. Look for the person that's been breeding them for 15 years, and it shuts down a lot of them issues of, well, if it's my dog, I will guarantee it. I will give your money back as a pup. Ring me in 5 years' time and say it's doing it. If it's still doing something wrong, or if it's not performing in 5 years' time, well, that's a totally different conversation, isn't it? Like that's Still got my tattoo in it, and it still comes from me. But that's a totally different situation. If it's not performing at 2 years or 12 months, I can guarantee all the pups that leave my yard should be working by 12 months. I just sold 22 pups to fund that trip to Earls in the States in March, and I got one female back at 7 months that someone wasn't happy with, that she hadn't started at 7 months. I had her for 4 weeks, walked hunter and did a bit of work with her, and she was out hunting and baying a pig within 4 weeks. That's 22 pups, and every single one of them's worked.
Yes, sir. Yeah, I did the same thing. I got rid of, just some cheap. I was getting rid of a plot hound puppies, very cheap, just straight plots, and they were Bayou Cajun by Shamrocks. So I mean that's gibberish, but I'm just giving you an example. Same kind of situation. I gave only one of them to my buddy. I gave it to him, and then the other ones, I sold. So I gave him a guarantee on them. I didn't have no questions regarding them. But my buddy of mine, he immediately called me. The puppy was 4 months old, 5 months old. He called, he said, man, I don't want this dog no more. It ain't worth the shit. He's like, I had 8-week-old puppies in here barking at a pig. It won't even show acknowledgement. I already knew immediately. I said, yeah, it's way too soon, whatever. I get they're late starters. It's not for him. So I went ahead and took the pup back. I'm not shitting you. There was a kid that come over, and he's seen her, and he's like, man, I really, I want to get away from these cur dogs. I want to try out these plots. I said, you can have that Jip right there. I said, but if she's not working, bring her back to me. Right now, I think they're a year old or something now, and he did not bring her back. She's catching hogs. She's doing what she needs to. She hasn't caught no monsters or anything, or she hasn't done anything solo, but she's raising.
But at that age, it doesn't. At that age, it doesn't matter as long as they got the drive and the intent, and they're out there at 12 months. 10 to 12 months, they're showing the signs that they're keen and want to do it. You can work with them.
Yes, sir. Yeah, exactly. So, let me ask you though, while we're around here, I don't know if you covered it with Dixie Doggers. I can't remember if you did or not. But your culling process, do you have a time frame where you decide you're going to cull, or do y'all even cull at all?
Probably at the moment, in the early days, we did pretty hard, probably too hard. But that's got us to where we are. The first 3 or 4 litters, everything stayed in house. We only sort of sold to good hunters that we knew were going to work them hard, and a lot of them disappeared that didn't perform probably by 12 months old. And that you could say it was pretty savage, and we probably got rid of dogs that would have worked, but we probably kept the top 1% out of every litter. Which makes a big difference in a breeding program when obviously you can't get any more genetics in, and we don't want to outcross them. So at the moment I don't cull. So like I said, I just put 22 pups out. All them pups are basically showing sign before they left here at sort of anywhere. Some of the early ones, some go at 8-10 weeks. Obviously, I can't do them. Some might stay till 6 months, but at 6 months they're probably working. Like they don't leave here unless they're working. There's enough interest at the moment in Australia that the blackmouth curs have got a bit of a go on, and there's a lot of interest. I've got a waiting list at the moment for, sort of 20, 25 people waiting for pups. If I do another lot of litters, is there culls in them? For me, probably not, because we've chosen the way we've bred them. I can guarantee they'll all work, but there'll be a difference in how they work and how they start. So when I start a pup, I have a process of starting my pups about 3 to 4 months old, and I can guarantee you that the process that I have, that I will be able to pick the 1 or 2 that start immediately. In another day or 2, I can guarantee the middle sort of mediocre fellas will start, and they will start picking up, and then there may be 1 or 2 that don't start at all at that age. That doesn't mean them 2 or 3 that don't start at 3 months are going to be a cull. They've just got a different personality. They've got a different intent on how they're going to work, and you've just got to work through that. So I will work the lead pups for about a month pretty hard, and then go and put them away, and then I'll work them sort of middle pups on their own and get them working. The 2 or 3 that don't sort of show that sign or show that start straight away, I don't put them back. I don't try and force it on them to start, if you know what I mean.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
You give them the time to develop, and you'll work it out that they're probably the ones that aren't real interested in the way that I'm starting. They're actually out in the paddock, putting their nose down, having a look around. They're very independent, and they've got a different hunt. The first 2 or 3 that are the 1%ers, the cream of the crop, they're probably going to go in and be hard dogs at 6 months, 8 months old, and probably get in, bay hard, catch, and probably take a reckon and then get set back at that age. Whereas the other ones, if you leave them to 6 or 8 months, they're out on their own, they're hunting, they're having a look around. They'll be the smartest ones.
Okay.
And you've just got to work with them, and they will come up to being probably the smarter dogs and the better hunting style in the end. And I've got that. If you can sort of see there's sort of 3/3 to a litter, if you know what I mean. There's ones that start hard at the start that'll go hard and probably get set back, and then you've got to put them up and look after them. Then you've got the ones in the middle that'll always hunt, always do everything, but they won't have the intensity of the first ones, the top 3. And then the bottom 3, well, they take time, they're more thinkers, they're smarter, and they probably use their nose more, and they probably bail a bit softer and think about things. And you can work all that through, and you can pick pups out. I don't always keep the ones that start the earliest, and I generally will keep some of the ones that, you can see them getting out there and using their nose, being smart, being an independent pup. Doesn't have to come and sit at your feet. Wants a little bit of time on its own to go and find out what life's about and what its job is,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Right.
Well, with all you covered a lot of good stuff right there. But a couple things to save both of us the headache, because I get it every single episode with anybody. Can you go ahead and if you don't mind, please cover your cost, what your waiting list procedures are, and what is required if they want to get on that waiting list?
So at the moment, it's just basically there's a lot of traction just through social media and all that. I stayed when I imported them, I didn't do any social media. I just kept to myself. In the last few years, just with the amount of interest in blackmouth curs, I get messages daily. Do I have blackmouth curs? How they work? So you got to sort of push people. You talk to everyone. You've got to engage with everyone, and I'm happy to do that. I'm happy to help everyone. That's just part of running dogs and obviously being a breeder. But you point them to the social media sites. So we've got blackmouth cur Facebook pages. We've got blackmouth curs Instagram, which is I'm not big on that. It's very hard for me to keep up and try and do all that in a manner that really generates any business. But it's word of mouth most of the time. I just go through the process of, if people want videos or want any information, jump on the Facebook page, jump on the Instagram page, have a look at how they're catching, how they're bailing, all that sort of stuff. And then I've just basically got to add them to a list and work through it. And at the moment, I've got 5 bitches, which I hunt as well as breed, so that's quite a juggle. I don't have what I call any sacrificial dogs. I've normally got some sacrificial blackmouth curs or something that I can, hunt with. And if they do end up getting hurt or killed, that's part of, that's just part of the hunting. But obviously I don't want to do that to bloodline bitches that I've just spent, 3 or 4 years breeding, working, breeding up, working. So it's a hard juggle. I get people on the list. I don't ask for deposits until the pups are on the ground, and then I can start naming people that put a deposit on. $500 deposit and $1,200 for a pup. And to me at the moment, $1,200 doesn't really cover everything that I do. If I keep them out to 6 months, that's for sure. But if they take them at that 10 to 12 weeks, there's a little bit of money in it for me. But that's not why I'm doing it. It's I'm doing it for the breed, and I'm doing it for the way I hunt. And I just encourage people to keep contacting me, and if they want information, I'll help as much as I can, and get one and have a go. Like, that's the biggest thing in Australia is this concept of sort of running drop dogs and catch dogs, and that is starting to probably get a little bit, I don't think it'll ever change in Australia, but it's getting to a point where, obviously the animal rights activists and all that are making it harder for pigs to be caught with dogs. And why wouldn't you have a baying dog or a bailing dog that that doesn't catch a pig, and you can walk in and either shoot it, which a lot of us do. You can run a catch dog if you really want. I did that for years. Had the blackmouth curs just bailing, and had a little red nose pit bull bred here in Australia as a catch dog. 10 10, 20 seconds, she's caught it, you've got it over and stuck it. So, yeah, it's not a big business for me. I don't make any money out of it, but I just enjoy having the dogs. I enjoy having the bitches that I've got at the moment. I've got one bitch I just bred back to semen from Florida, to J-Dub, which is a T&K John Wayne, goes back to that old Okie Finokie cowboy dog that we tried for years to get direct semen from, but we got it from a grandson, and she's been AI'd back to her father, so it's the first ever father over daughter joining that I've done.
Wait, so you went ahead and did the inbreeding?
Yeah, so
how do you feel about that though?
It's sort of a bit of a necessity. So I mean, I spent $10,000 to bring four straws of semen over. First litter cost me $6,000, and I got one female pup. So obviously that's a massive expense to get one female pup on the ground. She's phenomenal. She can catch a pig. She's been wrapped in cotton wool, but I've also worked her. She's been out, caught 120 kilo pigs. She's all catch. I can get her back and bay with a collar on, which I don't like, but as soon as you take the collar off, it means nothing to her. She's in there catching. And, to have her and then breed her back to her sire, back to the father, gives us basically a 75% bloodline to the original male that we got the semen from. So that just makes sense. If we get a male out of that litter, well, then obviously that's my male that I'll use for the future to outcross. I call it outcrossing, but it's still the same blood, same line of dogs, but it's an outcross to us, to what we've got. So you don't feel as if if I offend you, please tell me, but you don't feel as if you're getting too tight or anything yet? I think we were on the original stuff, so because I'd settled with that Tom's Trigger dog, so Happy was his name. I'd a heavily bred Happy, was breeding females and males, all that line, and then sort of bringing it back through in different ways. I think we did drive in a bit of small litter size and drove the size of the dogs down. Certainly increased their hunt and their drive, which is sort of what we were after. But this new bitch now, Yeba, her name is, comes all the semen and that come from Simon Yeba down at Florida. Shout out to him. I seen that he'd collected his dog, and I'd been following his dog for a bit, called J-Dub, and sent him a message and just said, "Look, mate, can you collect your dog for Australian export?" And he said, "Yeah, I'll get it done." Within 6 months, I had the semen over here. So, but she's a big leggy bitch, got a lot of size. That male's got a lot of size. So
got a good looking head on him.
Yeah. Got a big beautiful style of dogs, and to get that to a 75% male and breed that back over what we've got should outcross and get back to where we should be, without losing anything from what I can see.
Yeah.
She's got the hunt, she's got the catch, which for me isn't a necessity, but if I know they're out catching, I know that I've worked on some cattle, I know she'll catch cattle. If I know she's got that toughness and that, will you say roughness, all that, I know that I can produce pups that people are going to be happy with. If they complain that they're too catchy, well, there's a way to, set them back and make them bay and make them bail. If they're too loose and don't have the hunt and drive, well, you can't put that back in them. You've lost it, if you know what I mean.
Yep. You're right. Wow.
So she's in pup. She should be in pup at the moment. I've got to do a ultrasound on her this Friday. At the moment, that whole process has cost me $3,000 already, and I just hope she's got some pups in her.
Goodness. Okay, well, I mean, you kind of covered your future plan in the woods world, but talk to us kind of about your future plan in the Baypen world. I mean, of course, you already mentioned, you're going to let Rusty. You're talking 2027. I say you bite the bullet and do it 2026. Why not? I mean...
Because it's a lot of money. The flights over there aren't actually too bad. It's $1,500 return, but the 16 hours on the plane is fucking ordinary. Oh.
One way? That's
yeah.
one way?
Yep.
Oh, my goodness.
The 16 hours coming back from Texas, from DFW, when we were half hungover from fucking 10 days of solid drinking was fucking pretty harsh. It was pretty bad. Yes, I'm sending. So I haven't talked to Rusty for a few weeks, but the plan is there'll be a bitch go over February 2026. I think she should fly over on the 25th of February. She'll land at DFW with a Australian Bull Arab that I've brought and got papers for, that Gage Holland he was over here, did a month with us, and we obviously hunted the blackmouth curs and that, and we didn't get to go with anyone else just due to the timing and how it was that we didn't get to go and hunt traditional Bull Arabs with him. So I've brought a pup. He owns it. We're doing a bit of a collab at the moment, so that he's got that blackmouth cur that come from Ryan Stokes from down in Florida. So he's going to work him. I've started this Bull Arab pup for him. He'll end up going in February as well. So the two dogs will go over, land at DFW, and then hopefully this bitch will go up to Rusty's. He's hoping to run his Baypen, I think, to March the 7th. If that goes ahead, I'll probably fly over and run her in Rusty's Baypen competition, and then hopefully he was going to take her down and run her at Earls for me, and might run her in a few for 2026 just to get her settled in. And yeah, I think she's very competitive. She's taken to the, how do I say this? She's taken to a training pen pretty well. Obviously, all my dogs are basically just hunted out in the paddock, out in the bush, and that's all they know. So it's sort of, it's a different scenario for them to try and put them in a Baypen situation. Get her over there, get a bit of time to settle. Hopefully I think she'll be very competitive. I've got 2 males on the ground at the moment that were specifically bred, not exactly out of the bitch that I wanted, but they're still specifically line bred to a heavier, sort of harder, rougher sort of male line, and I've got them ready to start now. They're just 12 weeks old, and they'll probably see their first pig here in the next couple of days, and get them started. And yeah, that's going to be the 2 males that land over there in 2027 in February, and probably will go straight from there to either Rusty's to do a bit of work, or might see if I can get them down to Randy's and do a bit of work before taking them to Earls.
Okay, so let me ask you all this as well. Now, do you plan on running them in the hogbang.com circuit, as in all the Downsville events, Uncle Earl's, and like competing for, they offer Kennel of the Year, you can get Futurity, Rookie of the Year. There's multiple different, I don't know if you were aware of that, but
not really. Like, I sort of know there's 5 events, 5 sort of major events, and then that sort of becomes the world champion, and then all the kennel records and all that sort of stuff. Like, I've got a bit of an idea talking to Randy sort of how it works, but at the moment it's just a plan of getting that one bitch over there. She may do, it's totally up to Rusty. Like, I'm hoping she'll stay with Rusty for the 12 months. Whether or not he's got time to go and do some competitions with her or not, but the main one was probably get her into his Baypen, and then he'll run her at Earls. And then the other 2 males will come over and probably just run straight at Earls in 2027. As far as, look, I can't stay there all year and obviously go and do them all. Whether or not someone wants to pick them up and run them for the year for me if they're competitive, obviously that's going to be a big thing. They've got to get over there and they've got to be competitive. It's going to take a bit of acclimation for them to obviously fly over, get accustomed to everything over there. But if they know their job well enough, they should do the job for me. My thought was probably they'll end up on the market straight after Earls if they're competitive and they go all right. Recoup a bit of my costs, probably sell them, and then if someone wants to buy them and run them for the rest of the year or keep campaigning them, yeah, good luck to them. That's probably my thoughts.
Yeah, well, I'm not saying it's your fault, but
No, yeah, I'll just say that's my thoughts. That's what I'm thinking.
Thoughts.
Yeah,
Okay. Yeah, sorry.
Look, I don't really know what's going to happen. Like, I mean, if I take them over there and they just flunk, then what? You know, like I've just spent. You know, I know the bitch won't. That's why she's going, and I know she's really heavy bred back to that Tom's Trigger dog, which for Blackmouth Foundation stuff in America, there's not that many. Like, I don't think there's any of them. I think David Toms bred that dog for us, and then he never got bred again. So she would be something that if someone wants to breed, she would be an outcross to what you guys have over there. Yeah. So there could be some value in someone picking her up and breeding her and going that path. Whereas if I bring the two males, same thing. Like, there could be some value in someone breeding them or you know, foundation Blackmouth Cur people wanting them and breeding them, or they stick to the bay. They could be really good, competitive, and someone could buy them and have a go. I don't know it's a bit of a whatever happens sort of thing. I think once I get them there.
Yes, sir.
Could all go to shit and I look like a fucking idiot.
I mean, hey, it's competitive in there. I'm telling you now. Like, Randy's got him that goose dog now. Fanboy's coming up, and I mean, it is, but you never know. Like I say, it's like gambling, but you're playing roulette. You know, you could pick that right number that one time, but there's still how many ever numbers on a roulette table that are got more that are gonna probably whoop the shit out of you. I'm not deterring you from it at all by any means. That's not what I'm saying, but man, it's freaking phenomenal if you win it. I wish I had a dog that could compete in it. None of mine are so loose baying. I don't have any, you know, my dogs get cut down, and everybody's first saying is, oh, well, you need to get looser dogs. I can't get looser dogs. Shit happens, you know. They don't understand the terrain we're hunting in. Like, them dogs are trying to tuck down in a little briar thicket and talk to this pig and make sure they keep contact with it, and the only way to do that is to be 10, 15 foot. Now, if they back out and bay out of a briar thicket, which a couple of them do, they're keeping a deeper distance, and when that hog breaks, they don't have the right time to be able to actually go in there and nip it on the ass and get it to sit down again. Now we're on another 400, 500-yard race, or 4 or 5 mile race. You never know. So, you know, I just wish I had that capability. Or that
I just think I've got hard enough dogs that do it out in the, you know, that'll do it out in the paddock, and it translates that they should be able to do it in a pen. But the pen's a totally different thing. And look, I'll start a bit of controversy because I said it on Dixie Dogs. Is it a world championship dog? Is it a world championship event series, but no one else from the world is there? Fucking can't be.
Yeah.
So if I bring my dog over from Australia and if I run a Baypen competition here and I win it, is my dog the Australian champion?
See,
Has to be.
Yep, you're right. I do. Hey, yes.
I'm bringing over the Australian champion dog to compete against the technically the world champion dog.
I see where you're saying. So what? Yeah, I mean that makes sense because it's not controversy. It's the truth. And you know how many in the United States? I don't know if it's the same way in Australia, but oh my goodness, the truth is the most offensive thing to a grown man in the hog world. When you tell a grown man in the hog world something truthful, oh shit, you're not going to hear the end of it.
They get a bit upset, do they?
Oh
they get a
my
bit shitty.
Goodness. Oh yes. Most definitely. Like, I have to be like, you know, I'm trying to keep the podcast professional, but now it's been going on long enough and people are liking that the truth is coming out. I could give a shit less who I offend now. I really don't give a damn because when people are telling me like, man, you're being honest about it and it's really pissing people off because it's making those shitty people, you know, look even shittier. And, I mean, that's, you know, I'm just very honest about it and the way you just put it is very correct. I'm not trying to be offensive about it, but
No,
You're right. There's nothing in the world that's competing against it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you would have to, like, I got a group from Germany that's coming down to hunt with me in January. Now, if they were to bring some Baypen dogs, and then you from Australia come, there's some in Poland, there's some in Italy, there's some in Canada, there's some in Slovakia. Slovakia has some of the. If you really do research, look at the standards of Slovakian Kopov has to they have to pass certain hunts to even be allowed to breed. So, I mean, could you just imagine if they put them rules in place here, in the Baypen? But, everybody's we don't need no more damn stupid rules. I get that. But you're going to get me on a rant and get me all fired up.
Well, I think it's good the way it is. Jake, we met Jake and spent a bit of time with him, and he's done a phenomenal job to get it where it is.
Oh, yeah, he has. He does a great job.
I've been helping him out with a few things, since I've been back as well, and the way it is, don't change it. That's my opinion. Just grow it and keep adding to the, make it more spectacular, get more people involved, keep growing it. It can only get bigger and better. Controversy, all that shit that goes with it's never going to stop. Doesn't matter what sport you're in. I train cutting horses. I've been in cutting all my life, which is, an American sport. Traditionally an American sport has come to Australia. And I can go and train a cutting horse, and I can go and compete with some of the biggest cutting trainers in Australia, the blokes that have won millions and millions of dollars. I can go and compete in the pen with them on my horse that I train in, and I'll train it probably a bit different out in the paddock and then in the cutting pen. But am I competitive against them? Hell no. Probably not going to beat them. Got no hope of beating them. But I'm going to go and have a go because my intention is I can train to the best of my ability on the time and the effort that I can put in, which is totally different to that's their full-time job. So you don't expect to compete with them and beat them. But like you said before, they might get a shit cow and get run off, and you do win.
Yeah.
But you wouldn't have known. And if you put all this time and effort in at home and you don't go and fucking compete, what's the point?
Yep.
You got to compare apples to apples, and you got to get in there and have a go. You can say Randy and Goose can't be beaten. He can be beaten on any day if it goes wrong for him.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Yeah? But you got to be in there and you got to back yourself. You got to do the homework. You got to do the training. You got to have the dog that's suitable, and you got to get in and have a go.
Yeah. And
that's what I'm doing. And whether or not I'm bringing the Australian champion dog or I'm just bringing 3 useless ones will be determined when I get in there.
Yeah, but I mean, it's awesome. You're the first one taking the step, and I think, to be honest, your name's going to go down in history for bringing the first out-of-country dog, and then I think it's going to start opening, and that's my goal with this podcast. Like, I'm talking to every country. I got other countries in the works coming onto this. We're working on translators with some countries because some people can't speak English. I mean, I'm really putting my neck out to try to get as much information worldwide as possible because nobody's done it. And the step you're taking is freaking awesome. I mean, this is big for Jake and hogbang.com in general, I mean, it just really is because you're going to be the one that struck this. So you really can't give up, even if your dogs do end up being shit, because you might as well try to buy some. I mean, and just keep more people coming. And then when there's Slovakia coming over, Russia, just multiple countries, you could sit there and be like, "Yep, I was the one that started this. I took the leap." How long has hogbang.com been around? A long time.
Yeah.
But nobody else from the country has even. There's been other country individuals that have came to the event, but none that have ever thought the idea you're thinking in the way you stated it. Nobody better get offended because you are right. You can't really. He is the world champion based off of hogbang.com, but you're competing against everything from the United States. I mean, one of them. I'm sure they're going to explain it to me a lot better. But do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, definitely. Look, it's an adventure to me, a very expensive one. There's no doubt of that. But, you know, you go through life, you know, we brought these dogs over. We've worked them hard. We've proven their ability in Australia. We've proven their ability to hunt in a different way that suits people here. And now if I can prove that I can take some back and be competitive in the Baypen competition, like what more else is there to prove? Nothing, really. Like, I mean, you know, it's not that I've done everything, but I've attempted to have a go, throw me money in the ring, have a go, and see what happens. And whatever the outcome is, what it's going to be. Like, it's if I'm competitive, I'll get a buckle. So be it. If I walk out with catch outs or they didn't even look at the pig because of the situation, I'm not upset. I had a go. I threw my hat in the ring. It was good fun. Probably fucking shit ton more moonshine and drinking with everyone. You know, a lot of buddies over there now that we want to come back and see, and that's part of it. The culture and the experience is probably the most part of it.
Yes, sir. Did you have a chance to eat anything while you was down here? Did you go to Cajun camp or anything?
No, we missed that, unfortunately. Talked to the brothers and caught up with them and that, and had a couple of big yarns with them and that, and so there was a little bit of not celebrity status, but there was like, oh, there's the two fucking Australians. Come over here. So we got a lot of that, and you know, we did get bailed up quite a lot. You know, and that was just part of it. We basically just. Thanks to Gage, he brought a little gooseneck down and we just had a camp set up. We're pretty sufficient. You know, we go hunting here, obviously in Australia, you just set up a camp somewhere and cook for yourself over a fire for a week, and we sort of just did that there. And we didn't have any expectations when we went there, and we didn't really know what to do, what to set up. So yeah, basically we just drank piss, fucking went to sleep and watched hogs getting bait.
Yep. So, man, I'm so glad we're talking about all this because I'm loving it right now. Now, next time you come, for anybody coming from out of the country, hopefully we get people to go to hogbang.com from outside of the continental U.S. or even the lower 48. Give us some Alaskans, somebody from Hawaii, anywhere. Shit, I don't give a damn. But what would you give them some advice on what they should bring to the Hogbang?
Oh, look, first thing is just put it on your list. Look, that to me, anyone listening, anyone that listened to the Dixie Doggers or seen what we put up on Instagram and that sort of stuff, like if you ever hesitated about going because you just don't think you'll fit in, if you work dogs in Australia, you hunt dogs in Australia, doesn't matter what breed, you can forget all this shit about, it's a dog in a pen and it's never going to hunt out in a paddock, all that sort of rubbish. It's not about that. Just put your name on the list, get over there, get to Earls, because it is just about the people that you meet and the crowd that's there, and everyone's there for the same reason. We all work dogs, we all work hogs. We do it in our own fashion, and you can do it whichever way you want, but at the end of the day, you're going to have something in common with everyone. So I would just say, if you ever hesitated, put it on the list, book a ticket, get over there. One thing is just be a little bit prepared. Obviously, it's just a showground sort of setup. There's no showers or anything like that there. So we found a hose and did have a bit of a wash after about day 3. But yeah, just get set up. Everything's there. Like, there is food and all that there, but we just took a camping sort of setup. And just get there and enjoy yourself. Even if it's for 2 days, over the weekend, that last weekend when all the major stuff is on, or if it's the first couple of days when all the preliminary sort of stuff's on. It's just time there and talking to people that have the same interests and the same goals at some point. We all work dogs, we all hunt pigs.
Yep. And
there is a lot, I'll say it again, there's a lot of unique Americans there. You can call them rednecks, you can call them whatever you want, but they're still good people, and they're just there to have fun and talk to you.
Hey, while I was there, I gotta tell a funny. My first year going there were some Amish there, because they were
sitting up on the stands.
Yeah,
the whole time.
Yeah. Oh no, I was drinking with them. They was sitting there, and I was like, oh yeah, they're not. I don't know. I don't think they're supposed to drink, but we was sitting there, and I was like, It was late as shit. Gosh damn, it was probably 11 midnight. And I had a Coors Light, and the old boy goes, hey, man, you're allowed to drink up here? I said, well, not really, but there ain't nobody else and you're Amish, so let me go get you a beer. Him and I sat up there, and we kept drinking. And I was like, gosh, damn, I'm breaking history now. I'm drinking with an Amish watching these hogs get bayed right now. You know what I mean? It was awesome. I'm telling you, there's some shit that goes on at Earl's that you're like, gosh, damn.
Oh, that party, that first night we had that party there and brought out that bottles of OP rum. We lit a few people up, and it was a fucking party, all right. And, you know, everyone was there for the same reason. Good time, drink, and, you know, next morning up and work dogs.
Yep.
Can't ask for much more, you know. It's something you've got to experience to probably understand it, I suppose, and that's what I'm saying. If you know, I know there's been other Australians over there and watched it, and there's a big step between going and watching and going competing. I'm willing to do that, but just don't hesitate if you want to come. 2027, we're hopefully setting up a how are we going to call this? We're going to set up a bloody Australian little embassy there, probably little tent city. We'll get it up on the hill up the back there somewhere and fly a few Australian flags. We've got Aussie Boy, the Bull Arab as the mascot, and you know, if you want to come, that's going to be the year to come. That we've got a heap of Australians coming, and we'll have our own little segregated camp if we need to, just in case it gets too rowdy and we've got to defend ourselves or something. But no, it'll be right. We'll have a fucking ball. We'll make a good time of it.
God damn. I'm looking forward to it. That's all I gotta say. Shit, that is funny. Damn. Okay. All right. I gotta get back on track here. Now, I gotta ask everybody this, and we're still on the subject. Who is your favorite Baypen dog?
Well, I don't really. I've watched it. You watch a lot, and it's sort of hard to.
You gotta pick one, though.
Yeah, you watch everything on social media, and it's probably hard for me to really know all the dogs. You know, you got to sit down and sort of identify who's who a bit. But obviously, being over there, Goose stands out. You know, like you can't discredit that dog for what he's learnt and his ability to get around the corner and you know, get into that spot. Other dogs that were there, you know, just purely off Earls, I can't even name them, but there was a handful of really good yellow dogs there. If I knew the names, I would have put them up there. But look, you know, obviously I've been working with Randy's really helping me out. We probably talk, you know, maybe once or twice in a week. You know, just messaging and that sort of stuff. He's helping me out, and who wouldn't want to have a dog like Goose? Is he replicable? Is he a dog that, you know, he's learnt that through, you know, his ability, his own ability and his own style? Is it something that can be produced on and that way? You know, my opinion is it's not genetic. You know, I've seen dogs and horses do stuff here in Australia that would, you know, blow your mind on what they can achieve when you put them in a pressure situation and how they learn to get around it or get out of it. And does it pass on genetically? No. So I would put Goose up there purely because that is a dog that has the smarts, the brain and the ability to get put in a high pressure situation enough times to learn that getting in around that corner and around that shoulder of the pig gets him out of danger. Yeah. But he never looks away. Yeah,
it's impressive. It really is.
Yeah. Yep.
It most definitely is. Now, you know, like you said, you know, to have that caliber of dog is just that's made that. Could you imagine how much money that dog has made him? I mean, it's just.
Yeah, I know. He sent me a couple of messages when he won some of them last competitions. This is what I made for the weekend. I'm like, Holy shit.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, you put that in 6 years, Goose is 7 or 8, maybe 7. I don't know exactly. He's somewhere around there. So I mean, yeah, it's respect. If nobody respects that, they're wrong. You know, I'm not a.
Yeah, that's right.
I used to always say it, and I don't care. I'm still going to continue to say it. I'm not a Baypen guy because I don't have shit that can compete. I'm not against it, but that when I first got into this, just to give you a background, I offended a lot of the Baypen world because they thought I was coming in separating the community. I'm not. I come from the lab world. And the lab world, you have your field trial dogs and you got your meat dogs. It's that simple, and they're separate. Everybody knows that. And I guess the way I was making those terms, it offended a million people because, oh, no, my dog's this, I was like, oh, my gosh. Like, I've never seen so many grown men get offended over something. And I was like, look, I didn't intentionally try to offend everybody. I was just trying
to... We see, I think we see all that in Australia. Like, I know what you're talking about. Like, we see it all. And, like, for us, it means fuck all. We sort of probably look back and go, these are idiots. Like, they're fucking dogs. One works in a pen, one works out in the bush, out in the paddock. And they're doing this, you know, technically they're doing the same thing to some degree. But it's on a different level. And if you get a... Like, so, there's a sport in Australia called camp drafting on horses. So Americans have cutting, they bring it to Australia, and I'll just go with this because it sort of gives you a bit of a perspective. So cutting on a horse, if you know cutting, is basically putting a horse in a pen with cattle and you cut it out, put your hands down.
Yep.
Separate the cattle and you put your hands down. You're not allowed to touch, you're not allowed to pick up the reins. It's purely the horse's ability. To me, that's the pinnacle of any sport with a horse. If you can put your hand down and not... That is the horse's ability to work that cattle and not you.
Most definitely.
We've got a sport in Australia where we call it camp drafting. Not the same. It's basically in a big yard, and you put a beast in a yard. You cut it out with your hand, like you're reining the horse. You're two-handing the horse. You cut it out of cattle. Cut it out of a mob of cattle, and then you take it outside and you do a figure of 8 and you put it through a gate. But you're in control of the horse the whole time. So you never really get to this point of, can that horse do it on its own? Is it doing it on its own ability compared to a cutting horse? So there's big controversy. Can a cutting horse be a camp draft horse? Can a camp draft horse be a cutting horse? Well, a cutting horse can always go back and be a camp draft horse because you can control it. You basically put your hands back on it and you control it. Can you take a camp draft horse that's never been taught to do it on its own, per se, and put it in a cutting pen and let go of the reins and say, here, cut? No, you can't, because you've never taught it to use its own brain and work that way, if you know what I mean.
Oh, yeah, no, most definitely.
If you translate to, if you put that in perspective too, I'm going to work a dog out in a paddock and let it hunt all its life, you have very limited control on what that dog does when you go and hunt it, do you? Like, you put it on the ground, it finds the scent, it goes out, it might bay or bail a pig for 30 minutes, an hour on its own. You have no control at that point at all. You can look at it on the garment and see where it is, and that's it. You go and put that dog in the pen, it's still going to work the pig, but it's not going to have that initiative. It's got the initiative of, yes, I'm here, I'm working a pig. It's not looking for any control. You go and get a Baypen dog that's never been outside a Baypen, that's been fully controlled and in a controlled environment, and then go and ask it to hunt, where it's expected to do it on its own. It's probably going to look for cues and probably not do the same as that hunting dog that's never been in a Baypen, is it?
Yeah.
Like you're throwing that. You're sort of throwing it in the reverse that. People can say, oh, a Baypen dog will always go and hunt outside, but it won't hunt at the same calibre. And it won't, because it's been in a controlled situation all its life.
Yeah.
And once you let it out in a paddock and you can't control it, what is that dog expecting? It's waiting for some form of control. Or and that's just reality. That there's two different sports. It's like camp drafting, cutting, two different sports. Can you cross them? You can cross them. There will be horses that can do both at some level. There'll be dogs that can do both at some level. But there'll be the elite ones that only do bay penning at the top. There'll be elite cutting horses that only do it at the top. and then there'll be camp draft horses that are really good, and then there'll be bush hunting dogs that are really good.
Yeah.
And look, that probably is a bit confusing, but that's the way I see it. That if you're working dogs for control, you hunt, you let them hunt on their own ability. You don't interact with them and don't interact with that hunting drive, and that's how we all want our dogs. To take that away and put it in a bay pen and say now you're just going to stand there in a bay pen and bark for 10 minutes, get a bay off if it goes that long. That dog's going to be looking over its shoulder wanting to know what's going on, isn't it?
Oh, yes, sir. Most definitely.
Yeah. Whereas a dog that's been worked in a pen from the start will bay for 10 minutes and never look out and go, what's happening here? It'll just go, this is my job because this is all I've ever been taught to do.
Yeah. Most definitely. I agree. I do. With everything you just said, I mean, it's just hard for other humans to understand what you just said, though. It really is.
There's no controversy. Like you say, everyone cops that flack about, we sit back and watch it, and you go, well, why? Like, what's the controversy in it? There's elite bay pen dogs and there's woods dogs.
Yeah,
And if you want to take one to the other, either way, probably expect some disappointment.
Yeah, exactly.
But
and that's what I try to tell people a lot. Like, if I had the level of dogs that Goose, Hand Grenade, Sancho, 12, Fanboy, any of them dogs, Stupid. I mean, I could just sit here and keep naming dogs. If I had any caliber like that, I'd be competing. Trust me, I watch my dogs on how they bay in the woods. And the second they look out, I'm like, nope, that dog ain't. Even though they've been baying for an hour and a half, 2 hours, because I'm trying to get permission to get on property or whatever the case may be, we can talk about that all day long too. I mean, I can reassure you 100% that, this is true. When you go to a bay pen event, I'm not talking shit on them. I'm speaking truth. When you go to it, they're like, man, you got to be careful. This is how I was informed when I attempted getting into the bay pen world. I just didn't have the level of dog. I just I bought a dog and won a buckle from Uncle Earl's. It wasn't like I trained that dog. I'm not going to sit here and take credit. So when I was getting into that, they're like, well, man, if you run that dog more than once, you're going to start getting up there. He's going to be out there for 6 minutes or whatever. And I'm like, if a dog can't hold a bay for an hour, I don't want him. And, oh, no, they'll overheat and have issues and blah, blah. And I'm like, but I get where they're coming from now. See, I was just getting into it. And what they're saying is their dog is talking every single breath 2 inches away from that hog's nose. Now, what I'm doing in the woods is I run scent hound. Plot hounds is, I don't know if you've listened to every one.
Yep.
But I'm primarily a plot hound guy. And, they're a little bit more relaxed and kosher and cool. Once they get it stopped, they're just yo, just nice and easy. And I get it. So, but when they sit there and, they're worried about the dog being out there for freaking 12 minutes, I'm like, that dog wouldn't make it a day in the woods then. Especially when it's 90 to 100 degrees out.
Yeah, it's different. I can't tell you how I'm working them, but you take any dog and expect it to do 4 minutes, 6 minutes, 8 minutes. It's up there.
Yeah.
Like it is a lot of work for them.
But
I'm learning the same thing, man. Like I had no intentions of having bay pen competition dogs, and then you go, well, I'm going to go back. How am I going to do this? I've obviously got to see a dog do it before I can send it.
Yeah.
And it's hard work. They got to be fit. They got to be mentally. It's got to be something that they want to do in that intense without breaking concentration. It's a hard thing.
And that's what I had to understand. That's what I had to understand.
I can tell you now, the bitch that I'm sending, man, she's thrashed some big boars. Like, she has been hunting solid since she was probably 8-10 months old. She had a bit of a lull when she got sick and went to a fella and come back to me. And, she was nearly on the chopping block. She was nearly going to go down the gully. showed her what I'm showing her now, and she is just taken to it like you wouldn't believe. Out of all the dogs I've ever had, she's taken to it, and she can sit there and bay for 8 minutes, and it's a hard. And like she is done at the end of it, you know.
Yeah.
And she can sit out in the paddock for 10, 20 minutes with a big boar catching it, you know.
Yeah, yeah. No,
But it's a unique. Yeah, the dogs that do it, if they're not, I don't know. I haven't gone and spent time with Randy or any of these kennels. How do they start them? Do they start them at 12 weeks and that's all they know is the inside of a pen? Like,
see,
I've never had anyone explain it to me.
I've seen a couple of the people I originally talked to. I've seen their pen setups, and I kind of relatively made mine the same way because I have a pen at my house as well. And on my property, I make it specifically round, so there's no cornering, there's no potential of corner. I want that hog to move. I want that dog to show interest in stopping that hog and shutting it down, not letting it drift. I mean, believe it or not, as much as people think I'm against this Baypen world, I'm not. I know every rule in it. I just don't have that level of dog to compete. And I watch my dogs, watch how many panels they're letting that dog or that hog.
You're still talking about your plot hounds, though. You're still talking about the plot hounds.
No. So just to confirm, I have Catahoulas, plot hounds,
yeah,
and my Slovakians, which they're not. They're just same thing with you having them in Australia. You know, I got them in the United States. I'm going to make sure that they're bred, and I got puppies and everything before I do anything crazy with them. But my plot hounds and my Catahoula dog, and then I got a few, Heinz 57 mutts running around the yard, and some stuff, my wife found on the side of the road. But I've thrown some of them in a pen to kind of see if they would have that caliber of, the level of competition. I want to go to win. I don't want to go to, I hope I do good, because I don't know. That's just how I am. I want to be. I don't want to go in there.
Do you want to go to win, or do you want to go to just? Or you got to be competitive.
Yeah, be competitive. There you go. Yes, I want to know. I want to go in knowing I'm at least going to make the bay off. There you go. I want to know that they're going to bay a 10 in 2 minutes, or it's going to bay a 10 in 2 minutes. And I don't have that level of dog. I'll sit there and I'll see the simplest lookout, and I'm like, shit, it ain't even been to the woods yet, and it's already looking out. And I'm like, once I put it in the woods, it's going to be even worse. But then again, I can't convince myself to feed that many head of dogs to only be able to put them in a pen 5 times a year.
Yep.
I mean, if I can only compete 5 times a year, I'm not interested. I can hunt every single day. I mean, there's no season in the United States, so we can hunt 365 days a year. It don't matter.
Yeah. Yep.
But I would, if and I've always said it, and I hope Jake does. I understand he's got a life and a family and everything. But if he takes and there's more events and they get closer, of course, because it's 4 hours from where I live. Jake and I ain't but 5 minutes, 30 minutes apart from each other. We're not even 30 minutes from each other. And so I know he's got a hell of a drive. But, if the competition was more than 5, or I think Downsville and Earls all together, I think there's 5 a year or something. I mean, if it made it to where there was like 7 or 8, or at least one a month, I would definitely be at it every single time running them. But I would figure something out to be able to compete. I'm honest with myself, man. I don't know why people don't respect that. Like, you got shitty dogs in the Baypen.
You're going to feed them, you're going to put time and money in them, you want to be competitive, and then, for 5 events a year, is it enough to, I mean, obviously it is at the moment, but I mean, you look at any major sport that determines a world champion at the end of it, or a points champion at the end of it, it's, 5 would be on the minimum sort of side of things, I would have thought. You got to, 5 events and it's always the same people competing against each other. Well, it might as well be 1 or 2. Like, it's, you've got to get that extra sort of people in. I suppose that's where Jake said trying to grow it, is to get more competitors, get more people in, broaden it out to to make it more of a bigger series, and I don't know. It's
let me ask you this then. I mean, Dixie Doggers and I talked about it. You know, I highly support them, by the way, and they had me on their podcast as well not too long ago, and I did tell them. I mean, Joey and I are kind of on the same page, and I get it. There's a time crunch, but tell me how you feel about a true woods class. And that it's so sad how many people that run hogbaying.com that run their dogs in it get offended by when we say a real woods class. Like, you can't just bring your dog that you've only ran in the pen against these other woods dogs, which in my opinion, I believe, which I could be wrong, I believe bringing in true woods dogs, you got to have proof, just like Rusty Mayshore runs his.
Yep.
And you got to have, and your judges are not the same. No way in hell the judges are the same.
Yeah.
Then you have your hog. The hog needs to be scored as well. You don't see no rodeo where they only score the rider or the bull. You know what I mean? They score both.
Well, I do agree. Like so at Earls this year, there was pigs, there was hogs coming in that just ran. And I don't think any dog was going to stop it unless it caught, and then you caught out anyway. So it was, it was a bad pig.
Yeah.
If you get that pig, and obviously you blow your run, and then another pig comes in and just stands in the middle and bays for 2 minutes, it's not the same. Like, is that the dog's fault? 50% of it's not, obviously. It's that simple, isn't it? Like, 50% of it's the pig and 50% of it's the dog's work. Hard thing to start asking people to score pigs and add that to the scorecard, but it wouldn't be hard to do.
No, and I mean,
but then a woods class. If you want to do a woods class, what does it involve? It would be an event that actually brings in all these woods people, all the hog hunters, and introduces more people to the sport. And if you did it and it was 100 people in the woods class, and 2 of them decided to go professional and go and do all 5 of the major ones for the year, well, you've probably achieved something. You've actually converted 2 people. So there's no downside to it, probably.
But there is though. This is a big consideration you have to take in. How many sneaky people are going to go there trying to watch the event? You got all these hog hunters that are running these dogs in the woods, and they're like, I could see this. I've never been told this. It's not like anybody said, oh, well, this is a bad deal. If dogs just go in there and everybody's bringing whatever, and they bring some rough dogs and they continuously catch the hogs, you're destroying all the hogs that they got for this event. You see what I'm saying?
There's a lot to it.
Yeah, I understand all that. I just really would like man, I like how Rusty does his, but I get it. Jake has so many events to try to push together within 7 days, and sometimes I've heard it's went over into Monday.
Yeah.
So.
And he's got to look after the well-being of the sport. If everyone starts turning up and they're just catching pig every run, and that gets on social media and that gets to where it shouldn't be, you won't have the sport.
Exactly.
And to some degree, the idea of the sport is a bit like I was saying with horse events and that sort of stuff. You can do whatever you want out in the paddock and be competitive on horses, train all your horses out in the paddock, but you've got to go to the elite event to compete with the elite fellas to prove yourself to some degree. My opinion would be if it was a sport that is trying to push the elite dogs in a direction that there is a world champion, there is a buckle and a big trophy at the end, it stays an elite sport, and you've got to be a professional to do it. In the offshoot, there's little events everywhere that people with hog baying dogs, sports class, whatever you call it, woods class, they can go and try and promote the sport where there's more of them little events.
Yeah.
That's if you had 10 little woods class competitions throughout the year, and you would probably go and do them, wouldn't you?
Well, yes, most definitely. And I can tell you right now, when I brought it up with Dixie Doggers, the day after they posted it, I had 49 unread messages saying, "Hey man, you live that close to Jake. Y'all got to be cool. Reach out to him." I'm like, we ain't gonna talk about none of that. I don't have a problem with Jake at all. I love the guy, but it's.
But I'd let Jake do what he does, and I would be, 10 little wood class events during the year. You would work your dog you would take a heap of dogs to all of them, lower costs, less entry fees, and you're not gonna compete against the competition fellas. But then you might find that dog that suits the Baypen competition, and you will take him out of that run and take him to some of the other bigger comps.
Let me give you a prime example. Okay, we're gonna jump into the lab world real quick. So we have our field trial dogs and our meat dogs. So there's a festival each year where you can come, and they do not set it up like a field trial event. So it'd be pretty equivalent to, you're not running against Baypen competition dogs. They make it realistic. They put it in good, thick cover, whatever the case may be. Long story short, it's pretty much both worlds combined, and everybody can compete in it. And my lab ended up winning, and she was at a started level at the time, I think. Yeah, she was at a started level, and she won. And I mean, yeah, you didn't win a bunch of money, but you got a little ribbon. But that event alone, the very first year they put it on, it attracted. I can't remember the exact number, but I'm telling you, it ended up being a 4-hour event to 2 days long, because all those people that were coming were like, well, we can't compete in the field trials in the SRS series or anything like that, but we know we got a good dog, and this is the realest scenario you can get here. And the events, or the entries, were just coming in like crazy. But there's multiple events. There's like 3 different levels: started, season, finished. And I'm just giving a good comparison that if you give these other guys that are sitting back and watching all this, you know how many of them gentlemen that show up just to Uncle Earl's because they're wanting to watch? That's awesome. And from a financial standpoint, you make $20 off their bracelet. Whoop-de-doo. Now, you go ahead and you allow all these gentlemen to enter a dog into this class that may extend it longer, but you're talking about profiting thousands more dollars. It's a risk I'm willing to take, to be honest with you. Whether you got to open up a second bay. Uncle Earl's is so big, you could have one bay pen on the other end and another on the regular end. You could run 2 at the same exact time, but then I know everybody's going to, no, you can't. Then you got to separate hog. It's going to cause more chaos. That's the risk I'd be willing to take to appease everybody. You're going to gain double the followers, and you're going to make it go a lot quicker.
It's like any sport. You want to grow it, and how do you grow it? You grow it from the consumer base that is first timers, basically.
Yes.
You've got to get them first time people in that want to have a go. I understand how they're running Earls at the moment. I run a cutting show here. I've been president of a committee here for 20 years. I've run a lot of events, and we're an affiliate to the major cutting association in Australia, and we run. There's all the little affiliate events all year round, and then you go to the big major events that the big overarching sports organisation, cutting organisation runs. My opinion would be, if you keep adding to Earls, it becomes unattainable for the people running it a bit. I've seen that. I've been there and done that. You split a pen and you run 2 pens. That's double the volunteers. That's double the pigs. Everything gets bigger and bigger. And yes, you obviously make more income, but where does it go? Like, you're still not touching that base of first-time people, or the people that want to come out of the woods and just take them to a weekend event. Your weekend events is where it should be, in my opinion. So, off the top of my head, when I come back, I would have said the first thing I would have done is probably set up a subcommittee under Jake and try and run, maybe 5 woods under the rules, under Rusty's rules or someone else's rules, run 5 woods pens competitions under that banner, under that hog baying banner as a subcommittee to get people there and get them first timers and get them people out of the woods to come to them little events. Less pigs, less volunteers. It's over a 2-day or a 1-day event, and people can start picking and choosing their dogs that they want to take to the next level. Because that's the hard thing with Earls and only the 5 events is you might have a yard of 20 dogs, which, you know, are you going to start carting? It's like you said, are you going to start training them all or carting them all to the one event every 2 months just to find out which one's going to make it?
Exactly.
Because you can't train them at home. You can train them at home all you want, but you don't know what that dog is going to do until you take it to a competition.
Yep.
You've got to take it to a competition to find out if it's worthwhile or not going.
Yeah, and I'm not even talking bad. The first time I seen Goose run, he looked out. Or not looked out, he spun out or something. I mean, and it was just the one dog, and I was so excited to see him run, man. I heard that Top Gun come on, and there was a gentleman at the time that was kind of showing me around, you know. I was like, he was like my guide around the area. And he said, "Hey, Goose is coming up." Man, I took off running up to them stands because I'd come from Kansas. I'm just getting into this hog world, and everybody talked about Goose. Everybody, and I ran up there and I looked down and I was just watching him, and then and Randy wasn't upset or nothing. He just pulls him out and he said, "Did you see that?" Not to me, but to somebody else. And I seen that. I was like, "Gosh, damn, Goose actually did whatever." I thought he was the best dog in the world. Well, he still ended up winning the 2-dog and everything else. But
he's still racked up a bit, but that's just reality. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, you can beat Goose. He might just loop out. There might be the one something happens, and you're there. You get a 10-10. You get a perfect 10, and you go to the next round, and he doesn't. That's it. But you need to touch that base that you're talking about that will, if you create that event at Earls and 250 people nominate for that, and the Baypen fellas that have put all their time into training them dogs and are the elite dogs, if it takes away from then you'll be making some controversy. Yeah. If you understand what I'm saying, if the Woods Dog event becomes so big and that's the spectacular event and not the actual, the 1-dog and the 2-dog with the pro fellas, that'll create some controversy. But that's where you put that out in a different, put it out in a different round of events, subcommittee running 5-10 of them throughout the year.
Yeah.
And you build that base from there, and then people want to convert over to the Baypen, to the professional or the bigger stuff. They have an option to do it, or they have the option to do the smaller ones all year round.
Yeah. Yep.
And there's a business in that.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure, Jake's been running it long enough. I'm sure he's heard millions of ideas. But
yeah, without a doubt.
I don't know. I just like to, cover those, and maybe somebody else has the same mindset. And it seems like there's a lot of people that are thinking that. I mean, 49 unread messages of people saying, "Hey, look, if we can figure out how to get a woods like that going, blah, 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 I'd be interested." And I'm like,
well, say that to Rusty. Rusty just needs to run 10 of them.
Yeah, but the problem is Rusty does it up there in Oklahoma. Shit, he's got to move around a little bit. These guys that are reaching out are Mississippi, Florida, Georgia, Alabama, Arkansas, Texas. Nowhere. I don't know.
Well, get a group together and get on board. Get a group together and push it. Dixie Doggers, everyone's on board.
Oh,
yeah. There's no doubt of that.
Yeah. And I'm gonna message you because I know you ain't gonna steal it from me because you're in Australia. But I got a astronomical idea. I mean, like a phenomenal idea of something I'm gonna really try to fabricate and start making happen. I'll send it to you and you let me know what you think, because they used to do it back in the day, but there's rules and regulations that shut it down, and I think I've made something to where I can make something else happen that is going to blow people's minds if I can figure out the legalities. But I'll message you about it and maybe get some potential advice.
I'm happy to help. I mean, like I said, I've been sort of helping Jake with a few things, and just in that area to where we're sitting over here in Australia and we'd like to watch it. You've got to live stream it. To me, that's a must. Like you've got to be able to live stream that now, so that your audience might be 10,000 there on a Saturday at Earls, could be 50,000 live stream.
Yeah.
That coverage could just change the whole dynamics of the sport as it is.
And you could make it private, and to where only certain blah 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 evers can actually watch it. And because I get what they're worried about, they don't want them antis watching it, whatnot. So there's ways around that, and I know every single way around that. Like I could help with that so much, but I'm really not in that group, you know what I mean? So, I'm not saying in a bad way, I'm just not. I enjoy following it, I like it, I'm more of a woods guy.
No, but I'm only doing what you're going to ask for, you're going to send me something and just ask for my advice. I just come back and said to Jake, how good would it be if all these people that comment from Australia about the hog stuff could actually watch it and understand it?
Exactly.
Not have to fly 16 hours to go over there and see it, and that's because not everyone's going to do that. Not everyone's going to spend the money and do it, but you can jump on, online and watch it and go, oh shit, it's actually is an elite sport where the dogs. Look, I understand now. It's hard for a dog to bay a pig in one spot for 6 minutes solid.
Yeah, you want to talk about the Calcutta getting even bigger? You want to talk about turning into $20,000-$30,000? Oh man!
Live stream, but I'll start a gambling service over here for it.
Yeah, I'm telling you, shit. Me too. I don't give a damn. I mean, I don't know. I think it's just awesome. I really do. Now, I gotta ask you. We passed the halfway point a while back, but I need to know if you got any shout outs you want to give.
Look, obviously everyone that spent time with that when we did that trip in March can't shout out enough to Gage Holland. He picked us up from the airport, drove us around for 10 days, and then set us up with that gooseneck down at Earls. And then he come and done his trip over here. We reciprocated for him, but just for someone that we hadn't met before and was just interested in our dogs and our breeding and that, can't thank him enough for what he did for us. And now he's, like I said, we're doing this little collab with the blackmouth cur he's got of mine and the bull Arab I've got of his. And Rusty's going to take this bitch for me and put it, it's going to be, it won't be expensive for him, but obviously he's going to put his time and money into it for me, and I'll help him out with that. But, that's a big ask for someone that we just met. We went and done the one hunt with him, and he's the real deal, Rusty. He hunts hard, his dogs are hard, and he's just willing to make this work so that I can get back over there and doing it. And there's not too many guys that would just go, right, this bloke from Australia is a fucking idiot because he's going to bring dogs over and waste his money. I'll help him out. I'll help him waste his money. That's probably what he's thinking. But no, and I've been talking to Randy. He's helping me. Well, Dixie Doggers. We're a little group there that we talk to every now and then. These guys are all been helping me. Just say, look, you do it. We'll help you. They just need to get a shout out to anyone that's going to put a bit of time and effort into my project to make it happen, and be the first one over there with dogs. So
I like it. I do. Now, is there anything else I got a few more questions, but we're more towards the end. Is there any other questions you got or anything you want to talk about?
No, I just think, from my perspective and the Australian perspective, there's, we hunt. There is two different hunting styles. There's obviously different style of dogs. We're still interested, even though we've got the blackmouth curs here. We're still interested in. I'd love to come and hunt with you and see how your plots go. Like that's one thing that's one thing we didn't do when we went over there. Obviously, we sort of stuck to the traditions that we knew. We went hunting with fellas with yellow dogs and Rusty and a couple of fellas up in Arkansas that ran yellow dogs, and to us it was the same as what we're doing here. Like, it wasn't really branching out and learning anything different. So, no, on the list is to sort of get over there and hunt with different style, the more plot hound dogs, that sort of stuff. And hunt something different. Every day for us, we can go and catch a pig. I can go out here half an hour and probably catch a 120 kilo pig. Coming to America and catching a pig, same but different, if you know what I mean.
Yes, sir. Yes,
so,
sir.
wouldn't mind getting over there, see, like chase a cat, lion, bear, just do something different and see how it's done different with them style of dogs,
Yes, sir.
So,
I mean,
I will be contacting and asking questions about all that sort of stuff,
Yes, sir. We can most definitely put you on the hogs, and I got a buddy that could potentially put you on the cats that I can get you in touch with. Him and I are working a deal out now. He might be coming on and keeping up like a little segment on my podcast to where he starts branching out to cat hunters and bear hunters and lion hunters, because I'm not familiar with that world.
No, it's totally foreign for us. For us, hunting dogs in Australia, it's pigs. I know there's some deer dog stuff down in Victoria and the southern states and that sort of stuff. Other than that, we break our dogs off everything. Kangaroos, wombats, all that sort of stuff. We can't hunt it. You don't want them to hunt it, so you break them off it, and it's pigs only. And it's a totally different world when you start looking at that hound stuff, where you watch podcast, you listen to podcasts, watch YouTube where they go and drop hound dogs off on an old bear trail, and it might take them a day, 24 hours to find it. And that with the lions, it's like that's next level dog stuff to me.
Yeah. Mine. I'm gonna be honest, and because my best friend in this hunting community gave me this pup. It was a colt. So I gotta make sure you're very familiar. My best dog right now was given to me. Like, I've bought, I don't know if you've listened, but I've spent thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars on dogs, and I've never had anything that's caught a hog. But this one was given to me. I put in work. I mean, this was over a year and a half ago, so while I was fresh into hog hunting. So everything that's been put into this dog was from me, and I got to give him credit, and this is going to blow your mind. He is half Weatherford Benz and half Bayou Cajun. So, yeah, so it's got some of that line that you're very familiar with. And I got to give him credit for giving me, he gave me a pair. He gave me him and his sister. His sister, I watched him, funny story, he popped her on the head real good one time because she is a bitch. She is an asshole. She's a fighting fool. And we noticed that, the daddy out of them, his brother listens to this podcast too, and the daddy out of them, from my understanding, was a fighting dog. Like, he always wanted, and he was straight from Wright's Cat Attack or something, and there was another one. I can't remember exactly. I have everything wrote down at the house. I don't have everything on top of my head right now. I've got other dogs, but I just wanted to let you know that would be a fun fact I thought I'd tell you, is that they are half and half.
Yeah, well, I've listened a fair bit about it. So Mike McCauley's at Bayou Cajun Plot Hounds, and he obviously breeds hard dogs.
Yeah, that's what I have as well. I have Bayou Cajun Plot Hounds on but mine are still young. My male dog ain't even 2 years old yet. He's under that. Then I had Shamrocks by Bayou Cajun. But I mean, if you want me to put it into perspective, yes, I've owned 5 Bayou Cajuns and 3 of them passed away because of, you want to talk about rough? That'll explain it right there.
Well, he's obviously another fella that's done his line of dogs. It's probably similar to us. It's just he's bred them rough and hard, and they will commit their lives to their job.
Well, Mr. Mike is somebody I would really like you to get in touch with and just have a conversation over the phone. I'm telling you right now, that man is down. I don't know how well, they probably wouldn't work out good for y'all in Australia. They have nothing to do with sight. But at the same time, you talk about sight versus what we hunt. A guy at work today, we get on this topic real quick as well. sight hounds versus having to find a hog. Okay,
Yep.
he would have offended a million people on this podcast because he was like, "Man, I went on a hunt with the guy and they pulled up to these hogs and they already seen them and they were only within 100 yards. We dropped them and they were caught." He's like, "But when we go out, you know your dogs actually have to go out and find the hog. Then they gotta not only find it, they gotta stop it. If they find it in a bed, the hog's well rested, and once it's rested, it's able to run. And then there's so many more factors." And I said, "Well, I'll tell you one story. I went on a hunt with a guy that had sight hounds in West Texas, and we pulled up to the spot, and he said, 'Hey, don't let any of them dogs out. Just put them on a lead.' I said, 'I don't need to put them on a lead.' I didn't know what was going on. And he said, 'Hey, there's hogs out there.' Well, I didn't know he had a thermal, first of all. I didn't know he was pointing a thermal. I didn't know what he was doing because I was still fresh to this. And I looked down at my Garmin and I said, 'My dog's bayed up.' And he's like, 'What do you mean?' I said, 'She's bayed up 400 yards away.' He said, 'That's impossible. Them hogs are 400 yards away.' And I said, 'No, I'm being for real.' I was like, 'How do you even know they're 400? He's like, 'Well, I'm just taking a rough guess as long as this field is whatever.' And I said, 'Look,' and I showed him she was bayed barking, and he's like, 'Gosh damn it, let's get in there.' And we walked in there, and she was bayed up. And I said, he's like, 'You're not supposed to drop them. You're supposed to walk them in 30 yards and then let them go. Or drive up there and then drop them out.' I'm like, well, these dogs are used to finding hogs up to a mile, 2-3 miles away. So that's a bit of a different hunting situation. You know what I mean?
Well, we've still got to teach people how to hunt these curs. Like, if people come and get pups off me and they've only traditionally running sight dogs or drop dogs or run and catch dogs, most of these breeds here, they'll hunt out maybe 500 metres a K, just on fresh sign. Whereas a cur, a lot of my curs will, I can turn up anywhere that's sort of got sign that could be 12 hours old to 6 hours old, whatever. If there's enough there, they will go.
Yeah.
They'll get out, they'll go their kilometre, 2 kilometres. At the moment, we're getting a little bit of pushback that there is curs out there going 4 kilometres.
Oh, ranging out pretty good.
These hunters that had dogs that only go 500 to a kilometre, they don't want a dog that goes 4 kilometres. They don't want to walk that far. They don't have a buggy or a quad bike to get them there, and the dog's out there baying, and they don't like it.
Yes, sir.
So we're still sort of training people, not training, but teaching people. If you want a cur, it is going to go a long way. If you want to teach it and let it go as far as it wants, it's probably it could be any limit. It can go. I've had a bitch here track pigs 10 kilometres. She was never going to catch the pig. The pigs were long gone in front of her, but she tracked for 10k, and I had to get around, which is a big effort for me. I had to get around into the neighbours and get through a lot of country and cut her off.
Yes, sir.
And I just put a Facebook post up and said, "Oh, look, these pigs left me crop. I knew they'd gone. Put this old bitch down." And she went 10 kilometres, and everyone's like, "Well, that bitch is useless. It didn't catch the pig within 10k." The pigs were gone, like they were gone 24 hours ago, sort of thing, if you know what I mean. There was still enough sign there that she went, and she probably would have tracked them right to where they were camped up. Could have been 20k. For pigs in Australia, they can go 10, 15k in a day easy.
How many is that in? Can you give me yards / miles or?
Miles. It's about half, I suppose. 10.
Yeah.
I'm not. Yeah, Troy's better at doing the bloody miles and the pounds and all that conversion than me.
Okay, yeah. I can most definitely look it up on my phone later and help everybody. But no, I mean, I hate to be. Look, we're talking here. Cur dogs here are not popular for that at all. I have met. I'm gonna piss a lot of people off on this one as well because I've hunted with quite a few people with yellow dogs. I've met 2. And majority of these people that are listening are going to know the 2 yellow dogs that I met that'll actually travel out and find a hog. And, everybody always claims before they come and hunt, "I got 1 dog that'll do it." Okay, why'd you bring 4? Why'd you bring 5 dogs? You got that, well, it's got to have this dog, it's got to have that dog. No, We said one dog, that's how it is. And people get offended by that real quick, but you were the person on Facebook talking shit about my dog that was doing it on his own, that will do it on his own, again, today, and show you that. But the 2 yellow dogs that I witnessed did it like the exactly how you're describing. That's exactly how they do it. They still do it to this day. I mean, they're the 2. Other than my buddy that I talk about that has no social media, he has 1 yellow dog that come out of the same daddy of mine. I've never met a better dog than that one, ever. There's not one that'll even come close. But they just don't range out down here. And people will, oh, mine does. But I have yet to find anybody's that does.
Well, it's sort of a bit weird because, look, for us, they are going a long way. But then compared to your hounds and your plot hounds and that sort of stuff, what our black-mouth curs, the yellow dogs are going is only probably half or not even close to what they're ranging out. But then a lot of people are saying, oh, in the States, the black-mouth curs never range out. They don't go far. They hang around your feet and don't do much. For us, we've probably bred it into them that they do go, and the hunting style that me and Troy do creates them to get out and get that far. But then other people do have them, and they just use them for rigging dogs. They just have them on the back of the utes, and you basically use them for rigging dogs, scenting and dropping them on pigs. So that's where I'm saying they're versatile. It depends how you hunt them. But a mate of mine up in far North Queensland, we done that trip early in the year. 12-hour drive. He's got a black-mouth cur that's half our line, half another dog that come in from Randy's as well. And shout out to Daniel Stubbo and Hector. Hector's 3-year-old male dog that just, you can turn up to any old sign on a creek bed. He'll jump out. He won't do that burst out and go out madly hunting, looking for sign. He'll just go to where the pigs are being. He'll have a bit of a look. He'll have a sniff. He'll have a piss. He'll do his thing. And he'll work that area for about half an hour while you can just sit there and watch what he's doing, have a beer. And most people go, oh, there's no pig here, must have left hours ago. And this dog will just keep working and working and working until he pulls the final, sort of track out from where that pig's been. And it could be an hour later and he will be 2 kilometres out, 1.5 km, 2 kilometres out with a good solid 100-kilo ball. Most people wouldn't have that patience or wouldn't expect that dog to decipher, that long a time, decipher which was the final track that pig walked out of and go and get it. Most dogs would jump off, have a hot run around for about 10 minutes and go, oh, no, it's too cold, there's nothing here, back on the ute. And our curs do that relentlessly. That's just what they do. There's a bloke advertising sort of now far North Queensland. He's got a black-mouth cur that's a specialist on dead animals. So he'll turn up to a dead cow at a trough or a water hole or a dam or something and know that the pigs are been gone for 4 or 5 hours. He'll put this black-mouth cur down. It'll hunt around for about the same thing, a bit like Hector. It'll hunt around for a bit, half an hour or bloody 10 minutes, and then it'll just pick the final track out and just go. And it might go a K or two to get that boar camped up on a ridge. And he's saying that's a specialist dog. It's not a specialist dog. It's what our curs do. That's what we've bred, and that's how they do it here. They will pick up that, 4 or 5 hour old track if need be, and they will go to the end of it and find the pig. And I've done it. I've got grain bins and feeders here with cameras, and I could go down of a night time and let my dogs in amongst 20 or 30 pigs at 12 o'clock at night, which to me is not, it's hunting, but I might as well have blurbs and drop dogs and just go and let them, I might as well just go let them rip into them and just catch whatever.
Yeah.
So I've got the camera set up. I see that the pigs leave at 4 o'clock, so I go there at 6:30 and put one of my cur bitches on the ground and watch a hunt from that grain bin 3 kilometres up onto a range and go into where all the pigs are nested up and get a boar. To me, that's more exciting than going down there with 2 cur dogs and just throwing them in amongst 30 pigs.
Yeah. Yep, I agree. I know exactly what you're saying. I've tried, but I mean down here I try to set up my buddies, or I guess they're not even buddies, acquaintances, people I know, man. I try to help everybody. and put them on hogs, and that's how I do it. I'm like, hey, there's pigs on camera, and that's how I find out they're not dedicated to it. Because they're always like, I want to get my dog started. I want to get my dog started. Well, I told you to put out cameras. You didn't. So now I put out 5 cameras for you. I'm telling you where the hogs are and when they're there, and you're still not going. But you'll go with somebody who's got dogs that'll go and catch hogs. You know, other people during the week, your intentions are really not in the right place of actually going and catching hogs. Is all I got to say.
Yeah, I don't use the camera very often. I put it on the feeders, and that's basically it, and put it on some pads just to sort of. But I just use it as a training method, like you're saying. Like I see where they are. If I've got young pups, I think Dixie, Joey, everyone says it. Use the camera, let the pigs go for half an hour, and then go and put your young pups on it and get them tracking.
Yep.
It's a great tool. Whereas you could take 2 6-month-old pups and go and throw them at them 30 pigs standing around a grain feeder and scare the shit out of them and get chased by pigs, get chased by a group of pigs, and that'll probably take you put your dog back probably 2 or 3 months,
Yeah.
That's for a cur. Like, if it's got it, it's got it. They'd go in there and bay. But, I mean, you're setting your dogs up for success is all I'm trying to say. And there's many ways to do it. And, to me, walk hunting and using these curs for that purpose is the best way to use them.
Yep. No, I got you. Well,
and I'd hate to have a plot hound here that goes fucking 10 mile or something stupid, and look, God knows where you'd end up, and it's just too much, if you know what I mean. We're in the middle. We got them short range dogs, them crossbred bull Arabs, and the Australian type dogs that are short range, and now we've got curs, Catahoulas. There's lots of Catahoulas here. Go and get a plot hound and ask someone to follow it for 10 mile. Probably not going to happen.
No, yeah.
They're probably going to go. We're going to run out of beer before that happens anyway. Snack pack only lasts so long, so yeah.
Yes, sir. No, I understand completely. I do. Well, we are at the end of it. Now, I got one question I have got to ask you that I ask everybody. I used to do 3 final questions, but the conversations are getting better and better and better, so I pretty much just saved one for the end. Can you tell us your favorite dog and why it's your favorite dog? Like I say to everybody, it does not have to be a hog dog. I don't give a damn if it was your grandma's poodle back in the day that you loved because it slept with you. Whatever.
Oh man, I've been through so many. I've had some bloody cracking dogs. And look, I've had crossbred dogs of every sort. I've had toy dogs. We actually ran miniature pinchers for quite a while. Not as in pegging dogs, but as pet dogs. But
I was like, gosh, damn.
I could catch pigs with a miniature pincher, which is quite interesting. But no, I've had some really good border collies, different world, the working cattle dog trials and that sort of stuff. But if you talk about dogs and like I would put, the same dogs I said on the Dixie dog is that this happy dog that come in utero and that he basically spent 12 months with him. My mother's a very good dog person, so she trained a lot of agility dogs all her life. Had some champion agility dogs, and still does a lot of dog work nowadays with respite dogs, taking them into homes and that sort of stuff. And she's got one of my old blackmouth curs that she of dogs. This Happy went with my mother for 12 months, and she did a bit of training with him, trying to do the agility stuff. Well, it might be the first blackmouth cur in Australia that goes and does agility trials. After about 6 months, I think she rang me up and said, look, this dog is so dumb. Like, it is not going to make anything, you're just wasting your time with it. She spent another 6 months with him, got him to a point where he could sit, do some agility stuff and that, and she just kept saying he's that dumb. Like any border collie, any lab, any of that, would have picked it up twice as quick. But then took him from that to cattle, and just the natural ability of that dog to read situations, handle rough cattle, catch clean-skinned bulls just one after another. So go out on a quad bike late in the afternoon, sit him on a quad bike, he'd just sit there with his nose up in the air, and he'd just smell a bull coming into a water hole, and he'd just jump off the quad bike, go go and catch it, roll it, mark it, put his nose up, gone again. So, you call it relaying, running on. He would relay clean-skinned bulls. Nothing for him to get 3 or 4 in a row, with a bit of help with other dogs, obviously. And just take a beating, just absolutely get beat up, swung into trees and just absolutely beat up, get back up, do it the next day. And then just come back and be a nice, big, gentle dog, I suppose he was sort of a bit like the Australian dogs that, you just point him at his target, he goes and does his job, comes back and lays around. But this fellow was just smart. And then I was sitting on top of a bit of a cliff face overlooking 40,000 acre property that I managed, sort of retired him from catching cattle, and just sitting there and there's a mob of pigs, probably about a K or 2 out in the middle of the paddock. There's a freaking dog in amongst them. And I had Happy with me. He's sitting and he just, for no reason at all, he'd left this ridge, left this sort of overlooking cliff, gone down it, gone out in the middle of the paddock and caught a pig. And from then on, he's sort of my main catch dog for pigs, and just from nominal nose, I have young fellas here, catching pigs and that, and I've got a sorghum crop, and there's no pigs in there. There's no pigs. There's no tracks. There's no nothing. They got their crossbred dogs, and I go, I'll go and get Happy, and we'll just see if there's any pigs around. I'll just basically drive to the edge of the crop, stop, put him out, and just wait. And I'll make, the fella that's with me or whatever, look, there's no pigs. He's not doing anything. He's just having a bit of a look around. Just wait. Half an hour later, he's up on the side of the hill with a 110 kilo boar. There's that natural drive and hunt and ability, and do it in a smart way.
Yeah.
For that dog to get to 11-year-old and die of old age means he was pretty smart.
Oh, most definitely. That's a finished dog for you.
Yeah. So.
Well,
went from being accordingly the dumbest dog we've ever bred or ever going to have to, probably to me the most smartest and most natural ability dog, and he lived 11-year-old, and he's bred on. That's the other thing is he's bred on. So everything that I've got now is by him.
That's awesome. I like to hear that. I do.
Right.
I do.
Yeah, that's one of them things on it. Everyone's got a unique dog, I know that, and you can pick one pretty easily. And everyone will ask you what's your best dog, and most people, you'll always come back to that one that just stood out, don't you?
Yeah, I know. I like those stories. I mean, shit, you had more than one with them. So that's good. That means that dog meant a lot to you. Now, I mean, that's all I got tonight. I appreciate everything. Well, tonight here, you're probably not even midday there, huh?
It's only 9:30 in the morning.
Oh,
9:30 Tuesday morning.
Yeah, no, we're in evening time here. So, I mean, it was good talking with you. Very good chatting with you. Is there anything else?
Appreciate it, Alan. Look, no, it's all good, man. I've been listening to all your podcasts. I've been driving bulldozers for the last couple of weeks. I've been 10 hours a day on a bulldozer, and maybe you can crank out some podcasts. If a podcast is an hour, I'm listening to 10 a day sort of thing. And,
Yeah.
I'm a bit like you. I've been through all the Dixie Doggers. I love them fellas, Joey and Nate, and, I got onto yours. I've listened to all yours so far, and I think it's an opportunity for everyone to listen, get involved. I've got no hesitation of contacting people and just saying, look, if you want to hear my stories, or you want to know about the breed, or you want to know how we hunt in Australia, hit me up. It's you talk about unity and how's it going to happen?
Yep.
Communication, basically.
Yes, sir. I'm gonna have you on again. Whenever I do, we're gonna try to do some stories. I know we're gonna get off track, but I want to get some stories going for people that just want to hear hog hunting. Period. And I'm gonna make that happen. So, but other than that, that's all. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, I just said all good. That'll be good if you want me back on. Yeah, we didn't talk about much pig hunting in Australia or many stories. There was a bit about the bay thing, but that's my direction a bit at the moment.
Yeah, that's fine. That's what I like to hear.
Yeah. So keen to meet you when we get over there and just keep the ball rolling on that project. So.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I will. I'll keep in touch with you. And we'll communicate back and forth and see if we can't get some other future podcasts lined out. Maybe you can point me in the direction of a couple people you'd like to hear from. I don't care. I'll interview within reason, anybody. I don't want to interview your buddy that caught one hog 7 years ago and he wants to tell that one story. I'm just being honest.
I'll get you. If you want to talk to a couple more Australian fellas that just different way they hunt and all that sort of stuff, I can. We can sort that out.
I do got to give a shout out to Australia. Y'all are my second biggest followers behind the United States, of course, clearly. But Australia I'm getting a huge following in Australia right now.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
They say, apparently, I don't believe I have one, but apparently my accent's real bad. So they're like, they laugh the whole damn time.
Not as bad as Uncle Pat.
Oh,
I can't understand Uncle Pat.
Yeah. Oh, no. Hey, when you come back down here, I'll take you somewhere. If you're able to spend some time down here, we'll go hunt somewhere and you will not understand. I can't. Even being from the United States, I can't understand them. We'll show you some coon asses. So I don't think you met any coon asses. You might have met some Cajuns, but you ain't met no coon asses yet.
I don't even know what that means. So I'm intrigued now. I'm interested.
Louisiana, like down south Louisiana, Mamu and stuff like that. So, yeah, we'll
sounds good.
I appreciate you again. Thank you, sir.
All right, thanks for getting me on, Alan.
Yes,
thanks,
sir. Bye.
We'll see you. Bye.